Is it healthy to talk about weight with your friends? You might think yes, but a recent study found 93% of college women have negative conversation with friends about their bodies. Psychologist and early show contributor Dr. Jennifer Hartstein is here to tell us why the so-called fat talk can affect your body image.
Absolutely.
Informal poll of women in the studio this morning, everyone sort of said, well, yeah, that's what women do. We talk about how fat we are.
We do. It's how we bond with one another. It's really kind of the norm. And all this research is showing that all of these comparisons actually make us feel worse. It makes us really point out all of the things we don't like about our bodies and brings us into that negative self-esteem place. We get into those competitive comparisons. It's not really great.
Why does it always have to be so negative? I mean, why couldn't we have those conversations while building one another up? You look fantastic.
Well, even when we say you look fantastic, we discount it. Oh, I've been hitting the gym or I've changed my diet. So there's something about this negative way of talking that's become the norm. We need to figure out why. We need to kind of make it the exception, and we haven't figured that out yet.
And we do tend to be really obsessed with it. And, you know, there's the running joke about, you know, never ask the man in your life whether or not you look fat, but you'll ask your girlfriends.
You will.
Does this make me look fat? Is that really what we're asking?
Oftentimes it's not. Oftentimes that question is really something more. It's really our way of saying, hey, I might not be feeling great in my body, or hey, I'm having a bad day. We funnel it back into how we look, and then it becomes the topic of conversation. So maybe a friend could say, what's really going on? It might get to the heart of the problem.
So that might be a trigger, too, that the fat talk is going a little bit too far. What are some other indications that it's time to dial it back?
Well, some other things we want to think about is it the only thing you talk about with your friends? Is it become the primary source of discussion? That becomes a problem. Is your friend, or are you, always dieting? And this isn't just the, oh, I'm not going to eat that kind of dieting. This is the, what's the latest trend? How can I jump in on it? And lastly, you want to think, is this obsession over your body so that the words come into play and into action? And what a new study found is that eating disorders are contagious. So all of this discussion is really, really challenging, because you can say, oh, I'm not going to eat that because it's going to make me fat, and then your friend might jump on that bandwagon. So that disordered thinking can be cut on by your friends, so you really want to monitor it.
And it's not just something among young women.
No.
Be they teenagers or even in their early 20s. There are more and more older women showing signs of eating disorders.
Right. And this is really very interesting, because they're finding that older women are really demonstrating the same kind of eating disorder behaviors as maybe teenagers did. Maybe they had an eating disorder as a teenager. Maybe they're going through another really stressful situation, but it's not getting picked up as malnourishment, because other signs that you would see in a teenager, they're not getting their period maybe, is not being noticed because it's looking as like signs of menopause. So it's much easier to conceal in an older woman. So we have to be, and that be thin is a good thing. So we want to really look at what's happening.
Okay, so how do we then turn this around to a healthy conversation with a girlfriend?
You want to turn it into something. Focus on the healthy goals. Focus on what their outcome wants to be. Focus on the positives. Hey, you're looking great, and really encourage them not to discount that compliment. And secondly, you want to mention your concerns and offer support when you need it. If you notice that something's up and your friend's looking too thin, or not eating healthy, or making bad food choices, you want to be a good friend and say, hey, I'm worried about this. Can we talk about it a little more?
Great advice, and good to get all of this out in the open so everyone at home knows it's, you know, it's not just that.
Especially heading into the summer when dieting season is going to be kicking up.
Oh, let's not talk about that.
Sorry.
Jen, always good to have you with us.
Thanks, Erica.